Hey, what is up guys? T-Dacy back here with another World of Tanks review. Today we're going to be going over the STA-1, the Tier 8 Japanese medium tank. Now we've obviously gone up through the line on this tech tree for the Japanese mediums, all the way from Tier 5 on the Chinu up to now the STA-1. Now the STA-1, before I start this review, is a very, it's actually a really good tank in my opinion. I've played a few games in it, around 25, and I'm really starting to get the hang of this tank, and I really like it. And yeah, let's get started with this review. Alrighty, so first off, in review, we're going to go over the previous tanks in the tech tree, and pretty much go over what we have already gone through in the previous tanks in this video series, and as well as what's going to come in the next few videos. So first off, the Chinu, it was obviously just the whole Japanese traditional medium tank with medium mobility, iffy, mobility there, with a great cannon, good for sniping, good gun depression, all that. Chito was a pretty much upgraded Chinu with a lot more HP and a little bit more maneuverability. Chiri was probably the downside of the line, in my opinion. It had the good burst damage with the 7.5. However, it did not have adequate, penetration as well as armor, obviously. It had a huge size. It just had so many downsides to, weigh out the upsides. So now that brings us to the STA-1. The STA-1 is pretty much, in my opinion, in line with the Pershing and in line with the Indian Panzer in the sense that it kind of follows that role of play. It doesn't really have any much more armor than the previous tanks, but we'll get into that later. It does have the ability to bounce shells in the mantlet, and it has good gun depression. It's got a good turret, and pretty much just overall it's got a great gun that I'll showcase later. And that's pretty much all for the previous stuff. And now if we look at the Type 61, this is going to follow more of the same type of gameplay as the STA-1, you would think. It does have a lot more hit points, which is going to be an upside, and especially with the upgraded turret, I think it gets 1700. But the Type 61 obviously gets that 105, which has the great alpha, and it has better DPM than like the Centurion 7.1 and also the Leopard PTA, so that's going to be a big upside. Now it doesn't have any armor, but that's not going to be much of a problem with this playstyle. So next we're going to go over the preliminary stats, and then we'll hurry up with the gun, because the gun is really the highlight of this STA-1, and you'll obviously get the point across there later. Alright, so the basic preliminary stats on this STA-1 are really good on paper. Other than the armor, it's really a really fantastic tank in my opinion. So the hit points with the upgraded turret, if we highlight here, is 1,450, which is that's actually pretty good for a tier 8 medium, in line with the Pershing and stuff like that. It does have kind of as much as an IS-3 with the stock turret, with this thing with the upgraded turret, so it has pretty much a heavy HP pool. Now, with that being said, its engine power, I have the stock engine, but I'm definitely going to be upgrading that pretty much in the next part of the video, because I have enough research on it. Its stock engine has 500 horsepower and does not weigh too much. It's got really good pick up and go with the stock engine, and the top speed at 45 really helps out this tank's playstyle compared to the Chiri and also the other Japanese medium tanks that didn't really have good maneuverability at all. Traverse speed is up there in line with like a Chaffee or a light tank at 44 degrees per second. It has let's see, a turret traverse speed of 42 degrees per second with the upgraded turret, which is in line with like a Object 140 or 430, 62A, around that stuff. And its view range is it's standard tier 8 medium tank at 390. Its signal range with the stock radio is actually really good. It's 720, which is pretty much a tier 10 radio, only 30 meters under that. Now it does have an optional tier 10 radio, which carries over on the Type 61 at 750 meters, which I'll probably end up researching in a little bit. So as for the modules go, I'll skip the gun for now. I'll go over the turret armor and view range, tracks, went over the radio, and I'll bring out the two engines, I guess. So pretty much the turret is, like I said, it traverses really quickly. It's got a pretty decent view range, and the one thing that I can highlight about it is it does have some really good, almost troll spots where there are like no damage hitboxes and rangefinder crits. Obviously, these two not really meaty looking things. They're a little bit bigger than most tanks. The view ranges and the rangefinders rather, and the view range that comes out of them is good. But you have a little crit spot here and over there, and then also right here on the cupola, which kind of helps out. The rangefinder is kind of like the Foch's now, how it acts as not spaced armor, but almost a crit spot near these little dots. But then towards the middle is a hitbox. So these little dots are rangefinder crits, but then the middle, and even the real middle, that's spaced armor. So then you have, the cupola. You've got a pretty decent-sized turret, but it is a Japanese medium tank, so that's to be expected. Other things about the turret is its backwards gun depression is obviously going to be little to nothing. I believe it actually has 0 degrees of gun depression, so it's pretty much in line, just looking straight. Because if you look here, how the turret would turn around, there's no room for the mantlet to even look down with how this turret is placed. Now, that being said, forwards and sideways gun depression is really good. I don't know the exact amounts, but my guess would be probably like -8, -9 degrees of gun depression, in line with like a Pershing or Indian Panzer. Now, this is not as tall as the Indian Panzer, but it's about as tall as a Pershing. Its turret is mounted more towards the front, which kind of helps for those peek and shoot moments that you're going to be having in close engagements. Now, other than that, the suspension is adequate. You can load the top 90 without the upgraded suspension, but that has almost the top load limit, so you cannot load equipment or max shells if you do that. So other than that, we went over the engine, and pretty much the upgraded engine is going to give an even better pickup and go. The pickup and go with the stock engine's good, but I would imagine the top engine, which I'll have in the gameplay, is going to be just even better. So next we'll go over the gun. Alright, so the gun is really what highlights this tank and is just the best part about it, and I love this gun. There's only one real complaint about it that I have, and it's not even really a complaint, it's more just a personal preference type thing. Whereas I don't really like its shell travel time. For me, it's a bit in line with like trying to think here, probably like the WZ-132's shell travel time, more with not the 100 but the 85, so a little bit lacking in the velocity out of the shell that comes out of the barrel. And I don't really, it's not a bad side or downside to the tank, because it's just leading shots is a little bit, you have to get used to it. So other than that, it's got really great stats. I mean, the base penetration, which is AP rounds on this medium tank in the 90, and it's a 90 mil with 218 penetration. And 218 millimeters is a crap ton for a tier 8 medium. And I mean, if you look at, let's say, the T-44, I think it has 175 millimeters of penetration. And if you look at even, say, like a 1390, which isn't a medium tank, but it has a 90, this thing has 170 millimeters of penetration. So that 218 is almost in line with a friggin' best tier 8 tank that carries a tier 9 gun, in my opinion, is the BL9. And that is obviously from the heavy tank, but that has 225 millimeters of penetration. So only 7 penetration down from the BL9, which is a big ups for this, STA-1 for sniping and just even, penning Jagdtiger upper superstructures and stuff like that with this tank. I've done that before, especially in these, compartments up here. So we got the STA-1 with 218 millimeters of penetration with standard AP, 275 with heat, and 45 with HE. Now the 275 with heat is not bad, but that's obviously going to be more unreliable with the heat shell mechanics. Other than that, I can't really stress enough how good the 218 penetration is. Now the rate of fire is great too, which really makes that extra penetration even better because your DPM is going to be more, you know, stable as opposed to like a 1390 where you may bounce a few shots so the DPM goes down because you're not penning every shot. The 90 mil with the 218 penetration really helps for that. So your base reload time is around like 6.8 seconds with the stock, you know, 100% crew. Once you get a rammer and vents, goes down to around 6.3 and a little less with BIA or consumable. Now if we look at the average damage, it keeps like the standard damage for like an 88 on like a Yag Tiger or like a Tiger 2 or Tiger 1. At 240 with AP and heat and 320 with HE. The 240 you know, average damage is in line with Indian Panzer or the I believe Panther 2. I don't know how much the Pershing has. I would assume it's the same because it's also a 90 mil. I guess we'll check that really quick. And yep, it's 240. So if we pretty much also compare this gun to the Pershing's 90 mil, it has better stats pretty much overall. Has a better rate of fire, has a better penetration for all 3 rounds. Actually, 2 rounds. HE doesn't really matter. Same damage, and the dispersion on the Type's 61 cannon on the STA is also better at 0.36, and the aim time is the same at 2.3 seconds. Now, the STA kind of follows the same gameplay as a Pershing, where you can hold down, really flex back and forth, be a support tank as much as you can be. But the only real thing is it doesn't have that much turret armor in the front, which the Pershing does, and the Pershing is a better gun mantlet. However, this thing's gun mantlet eats up a lot of shots. However, you know, the turret ring's pretty big and side cheeks are big. So even if you hold down, you're probably going to get penned if you aren't careful. Now, other than that, I guess we'll go over just the, you know, basic stuff to run. You know, crew skills, which, by the way, I think I had stated that I was going to get 6 cents before I got the STA. However, the half-off crew training weekend came, and I did not have 6 cents, so I went ahead and just bought the STA and, you know, got the crew skills reset. Well, not reset, retrained for half off. So, crew skills, pretty much, only thing that I could really stress enough, obviously, is 6 cents. The other, you know, especially for the STB-1, once you get up to there, I really think that the on-the-move shooting perks are really capable with these, well, actually, this tank and the Type 61 and STB. Even the lower tiers it helps, even though they're not as quick. So that being snapshot, you know, smooth ride, and obviously safe stowage helps no matter what tank you have. So those are pretty much the normal base perks and skills that I like to have as my first skills. Obviously, you can do the old get camo or repairs and then retrain, but since I'm already at 96 and 97%, it doesn't really make a difference to me. Oop, don't want to dismiss him. For other skills, I'm trying to look here. Obviously, for the loader and driver and gunner, you want to pretty much get camo or repairs. In my opinion, I'd get camouflage for a medium tank. And then once you get to like the next skill, you can either retrain for like Brothers in Arms if you really want that, or you can go to other skills and then redo camo. So for the commander, I'm probably going to end up going camouflage, camouflage on all 4, and then I'll retrain. Now the driver, I'm trying to think if clutch braking could help. Off-road driving definitely too, but I would just stick with camo, and then third skill could be whatever you want. So that's pretty much it, other than what to run as this stuff goes. So I use a medium caliber tank gun rammer. I use coated optics, and then instead of vents, some people run a vert stab. I'm probably going to end up switching that out when I get to the tier 9. But that's pretty much the viable equipment. Other than that, shell count. I like to run 35 AP, 10 heat, and 5 HE. 5 HE may be a little excessive, but I just like to keep these rounded off because, you know, it's just how it works for me. Small repair kit, small first aid kit, automatic fire extinguisher. Definitely best choice for these consumables. Now, consumables are half off, so when I upload this video, make sure you guys pick up a lot of them. Other than that, that's really it. Not really gonna look at any other stuff on the research tree. one weird thing to state is this 90 millimeter rifled gun is really, I think, just the historical gun. If this tank existed, not even really sure. And that thing is more of like an optional cannon for more, you know, research. If you want to research that, if you're not using free XP to get the top gun, you can get this and then get that. But I really don't see any point in that. Radio I'm going to get probably next, and I'll actually research the engine right now and put that on for you guys, so I'll have that in the gameplay. And then that's pretty much it. Next we'll have the gameplay, and I also have one replay sent in by Sergeant Forge, so stay tuned, guys. Alright guys, so for this first replay we have a very nice matchup of a tier 9 game with minimal tier 9s on the new map Kharkov. And Kharkov's pretty much a huge ass map where you can really just flex and do whatever you want, come from any lane. I've seen pushes down in the L-shaped circle, in the L shape being down the 0 line, in the circle down the K line. You can go around towards the northwest and work your way there, and you can go the middle road, obviously being a meaty heavy. So what I do is I go the circle L route, and I really wanted to pick this replay because it's not a stellar replay. It really just showcases how this tank, despite having no armor and you know, really any brawling capability, it still has good DPM and good peek and shoot capabilities to the point where you can actually do well in an offensive city push. So as I speed through this, we do have quite a lot of tanks flanking around the northwest as well as down here. We don't have much in the middle, but that's not much of a you know, concern because they don't have many heavy tanks either. One thing to note here is this tank has very good gun depression and is good at hiding its hole around various, you know, rubble, patches of rubble such as this one here. So we do have an enemy super Pershing. There's the shell travel time for you. It takes a little bit to get used to because I'm used to APCR and the higher tiered medium tanks, which obviously once you get the STB-1 that's going to be not much of a problem. But at these lower tier tanks it's a bit different. Type 61 I'm not sure how that's going to be. My guess would be it would be pretty fast muzzle velocity. So I take the initiative. All those guys are just completely scattered in that one lane there, and there's a lone T-69. Now you see I do get the auto bounce ricochet there, which is another good thing about this tank. Its upper plate actually has a good angle to it, so if you want to you know, show an auto bounce angle, many people will fall for that. So I do take the initiative and reverse side scrape. However, this Type 59 idiot kinda, I mean, it's not really his fault, but he pushes me out, and I decide to use him as a meat shield and just let him absorb all the damage while my track resets, and the 69 ends up clipping. So I did get the T-69 to fire 2 shells at me without dealing any damage, just by, you know, using this thing's peek and shoot and also its you know, its armor scheme to its advantage. So what happens here is none of these guys are even focused on me. They have no clue I'm coming, so I just quick peek and shoot, track the Super P, and try and get some assisting damage to him there. So what I'm doing is I'm pretty much resealing my camo as much as I can. I'm not being proxy lit here because I'm more than 50 meters away, but you know, when I peek and shoot, I'm obviously going to be lit right away. Now already is up. I get the Super P to bounce, and the T-32 misses. And like I said, this thing, if they were using a higher caliber, like a 122 or something, those would all be overmatched shots. But since they have a 90 mil and a 100 mil, and I don't even think that T-32 is the stock or the top gun, they're not going to overmatch my side with much ease. So I am side scraping with this STA, and it is working quite well. Now obviously there he penned my turret cheek, and I was able to you know, pull back before the Super P hit me. But this T-69, even though it's one-shottable, this little beam here, I can't shoot through it. He is perma-tracking me, but I believe he gets, there we go, one more shot onto me and takes out some of my HP. Not much I could do there. I could burn a repair kit, but I'm going to save that for late game in case something goes wrong. So T-69 is killed by the E-50, and I just go ahead and initiate a semi-push here. Super P ends up trying to run away. I think he's ammo racked, or maybe he's just retarded. I really don't know. All I know is that there's free damage for me and my teammates, which I'm going to take. So T-32, I get a good roll on his turret here, as you guys can see.
not really expecting to pen that shot, which I did, where that 218 pen really comes in to help. So a low roll on the HP there of 196. I believe that's one of the lowest rolls I can get. And we're up to around 2300 damage. So this really just shows how the STA is able to, I don't want to say it always can initiate a push and also, you know, be frontline by any means, and you shouldn't do that on really any situation, but it's good at supporting and, you know, taking the attention of enemy tanks that I did in this game and let the other teammates support and also take the hits for you. So that's pretty much it from this game. It was a steamroll. I was able to get almost 3k damage out of it, and that's pretty much it for this first gameplay. Really just wanted to show that this tank is able to not push, not take hits, but more almost be like the annoying scout type tank where you really just peek and shoot, get people to turn their turrets, almost like a tactical type play. So that's really one of the good things about the STA with its pen and DPM. Even if you do get into a sticky situation and have to go 1v1 against many heavy tanks, you do have as much HP as them and less alpha, but higher DPM and better pen, so you can pretty much shred them to hell. And despite, you know, them being slow, you can track them and, you know, get around them. So next we'll have a replay that Sergeant Forge is letting me use, which is a really good replay, just awesome ace tanker game, and yep, stay tuned for that.
Alright guys, so the second gameplay, pretty much what happened was Sergeant Forge's replay was of an older patch, and I didn't realize, so when I opened up the file, it did not work because we're on, I think, 9.2 now, and that was from like 8.9. So, for the most part, you know, I couldn't actually record what I wanted to, so I'm just using another replay that I was able to fetch up with me and Lewis Devlin in the STA-1. So Lewis is in his Pershing, and I'm in the STA-1, which pretty much gives, in other words, a better comparison of this tank to the Pershing, which really is the only other tank that I really think it compares up to in terms of, you know, mobility, gun, just overall play style and such. So that's a little bit good to see, and it's a standard battle on Fisherman's Bay. We have a pretty good chance to win, and let's get this going. So with this tank's gun depression and with the Pershing to help, we also have Vitroxity and his Jagdpanther 2, which is going to go over to the 1-2 line, hopefully, to support over there. I'm really just going to go up to middle and, you know, support the team, do as much damage as I can, early damage, early spots, all the norm in a medium tank on this map. So if you can see here, this thing holding the gun depression, it's got some spectacular frontal gun depression. Now, other than that, the backwards gun depression, you can see where the turret kind of locks into that little engine compartment. There is little to nothing of any sort of gun depression backwards. And here we get a light on the Chaffee and the Type 62. So let's see if we can get a quick shot on one of these guys. I get a snapshot on the Type 62. And the one thing that you can see right there is an FV304 already trying to spam the hell out of me just because I have no armor whatsoever. So I would have hit that Chaffee, but I did hit the pole on the house, which is indestructible, so we get a nice shot on the T-71 here, and the FV304 is just completely shelling out around me, and I really just, I hate the already on this map, especially in a soft tank like this, so you'll see later on that I do get kind of penned by the FV for a shit ton of damage. So we're outgunned in this medium engagement, and I guess there's a few lights, and a friggin' PZ-1C over there that's fail platooned. However, we're able to really, you know, use our gun depression and hold down and just make sure we cover our holes up, and they're not going to be able to really do much. So we've already got around 1,000 damage on 4 hits, some pretty good rolls here. And the C-34 is completely YOLOing out into the open, and me and Lewis are just shelling into him, and he's already pretty much melted down. So me and Lewis and this T-71 and A-44 are really just manhandling these enemy tanks in mid, and they really can't even push as much as they want to. So it seems to me like I got hit by something of medium caliber. Probably a Dicker Max or something like that, up towards the A3 area, A1 area. So I decided to take the initiative here, get a little snapshot on that Pershing. You can see here that the gun depression backwards is nothing really good at all, and I do get a lucky roll into the Pershing's side turret, but other than that, I wouldn't be able to pen him anywhere else. So we do have a KV-4 here. I'm going to play a little peekaboo with him. Try and side scrape. Not really sure if he's going to pen me. Probably will. I get penned by the arty there, as you guys can see right there. And that's really just devastating. This tank, luckily it doesn't damage anything on me, but this tank is really susceptible to arty fire if you're not, moving around. And there's another miss by him. So I try and peek out this KV-4. We're going to try and, get his turret to turn towards the, there you go, towards the middle. However, I do get a bounce and a bad roll there for RNG. I do have half of my hit points around, I guess just rounded off, but I'm going to try and engage these guys as much as I can. So I get a shot on the T-34, and there's the goddamn Crusader SP. So luckily he's got the stock gun, and it's pretty much the same as an FV-304. But other than that, this arty has really tearing me apart, so I decided to get the hell out of Dodge. So our 1-2 line is engaging their guys in a timely manner. I guess they're letting them push up a little much. But it's not really too much of a threat at this point, so I'm trying to get lights on these guys. Don't know why our T-29, Tiger 1, and T-34 are not flanking them, but at the same time there may be a few TDs all the way in the back. So this T-34, for some odd reason, I guess I do get spotted, but he just doesn't fire at me. So Vitroxy is finally losing that engagement on the 1-2 line, and me and Lewis really need to get these guys cleared out and then go support over there. T-34 turns his turret, get a nice RNG roll into his side of his turret. He is now one-shottable, and let's see if I can take him out. Get a little bit further up onto this crest, use my sideways gun depression to my advantage. However, the KV-4 is in the middle of there. So I take a snapshot, do not get the pen. I actually believe I got a no damage pen there. Hopefully critted his commander or something like that. And here you can see the backwards gun depression. I do get a nice bounce on my gun, which pretty much saved my life there. But here you can see that, holy shit, this thing has positive gun depression. So I don't even, yeah, that's not even considered gun depression backwards. So I'm trying to get and hide my hole, but at the same time I can't really shoot him. So here we get some shots, track him, he's on fire, and he just burns out. So that's the end of their eastern flank, and now we gotta go help Vitroxy in this other medium engagement here. So somehow we have, looks to me, a Tomato IS-3 in their base who just got pooped on. But he was able to spot both the artillery as well as the Digger Max that just got pooped on too. And I'm gonna try and get shots into these guys in mid, but I technically am one-shottable to a lot of their tanks, so I don't want to push out too far. Trying to find that artillery. Lewis is going to come up and spot him. There we go. I get an overmatch on his frontal hull. He runs away. Try and reload fast enough. However, it looks to me like he's aiming at me, and I don't even want to take a chance here. So I've got 320 hit points, so I get behind a house, and he misses. So Lewis is able to poop on him from the rear. So if Vitroxy can put one more shell into one of these guys, it would make our lives over here very easily, or much better to easily kill the enemies. But it looks to me like he does not get a shot in, and the T-21 is lessening the health of this STA, which really helps in the engagement that me and Lewis are going to come over here, so we don't have to lose as much hit points to them. So Vitroxy does a good job, gets them cornered into that lower position, and I'm obviously invis-tanking right now. They cannot spot me, so as soon as the STA comes up, pooped on them. So that pretty much seals the deal. We've got around 3,400 damage. There's an AT-15 down below. They have an arty and a T-21 also towards their base, and we really just need to spot this AT-15 and get him down. So he's looking right at me. I'm not even going to take a chance at shooting him right now. And the artillery poops on him for a whopping 40 damage. So, artillery misses me, and that's really all we can do in this game to farm damage. I mean, there's still a few guys left, but chances of us killing them are slim. So here's the T-21, see if I can get a shot on him. Ah! Take a snapshot, nope. Auto aim. Gib damage plus. Auto aim on him, and hey, we got the friggin' auto aim damage blah. Don't even know how the hell that RNG worked out there, but I prayed to RNGesus today, and he gave me a free damage shot. So that's pretty much 3,600 damage. I guess I'll round it. Nah, whatever, 3,600 damage. And that's obviously probably around an 8K win-8 game for this STA-1. Snapshot the T29 on base just because of being an idiot capping, and not sure if I turned blue from that, but whatever. So that's pretty much a really good game. I'll have the after battle reports or screenshots, whatnot, next. Obviously you can see that Lewis got many more kills than me. He got 4, I got 1, but I believe we got probably around the same damage. I would be expecting there. But Lewis did go into city and help that engagement as I flexed around west. So this tank, really much like a Pershing, it's very good. Obviously its turret armor and such is not going to be as good as a Pershing, but it does have a better rate of fire, better gun, and whatnot with the penetration and everything. So next we'll have some closing thoughts and everything like that. I really enjoyed this tank. I'm gonna research the Type 61 soon, and stay tuned for the next part, guys. Alright guys, so in conclusion for this STA-1 replay, I pretty much just want to stress enough that this tank is similar to a Pershing in the sense that, its gameplay and its gun are just really the things that highlight it. It's close to the Pershing, so if you guys have gone up the American branch or have the Pershing or Patton at all, that's pretty much what you're going to expect out of the STA. Just a little bit less hull armor and just a better cannon that it has equipped the 90mm Type 61. So if we go back over that, the 218 pen with AP is just ridiculous as a tier 8 medium, along with its good gun depression and okay gun mantlet, and just overall it has paper armor, but if you play it right, it's not going to be much of an issue. Two complaints about this tank are its shell velocity out of the 90mm and its backwards gun depression. Now I don't think I went through that. The gun depression and gun depression backwards pretty much is minuscule. It has actually, I believe, +1 gun depression. If that's not even depression anymore, I really don't know what the hell you want to consider that, while facing the gun backwards over this little block here, the engine compartment. And it has like +3 gun depression, so it really doesn't even have anything to do while shooting backwards. So other than that, it's a great solid tank. I'll give it probably an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. I'm definitely going to be rebuying this tank at some point. I am going to sell it at the end of this video. You can see I've already taken off everything. Pretty much to just fund the credits for the rest of the Type 61. I've already retrained the crew, if you guys saw that too, so I just need a little bit more credits for this Type 61, around 500k, so I'll be selling this thing for roughly like 1.3 mil. I have a little bit of, credits to wiggle around with. So that's really it for this review of the Type 61 review as soon as I can. I'm definitely going to get it eliteed first, and then you guys can look for that in the coming week. So hope you like this video. Comment, rate, subscribe, and happy tanking, guys.